Hi, welcome back to Couples Therapy Bites.
Where we serve up bite-sized pieces of psychological education to make your relationship
Even better.
I'm Stephen.
I'm Erin.
And today we're kind of continuing on with a theme that we've been talking about the last couple of episodes. We'll give you a link so you can check out the other ones if you haven't. But the idea of how your individual story shapes your couple story, and the importance of needing to engage your individual story so that you can communicate better with your partner, so that you can understand how you both individually operate, and there can be places of connection and compassion, hopefully, in that. But yesterday, I don't know when, a couple days ago, we talked about one of the ways to access that is by thinking about what are some of your greatest joys, and how has that impacted the things that you pursue in life. And I think another way to do that is to think about some of your darkest moments. And you hear that and you're like, no, I don't really want to do that. In fact,
I actually just said that out loud. He
Yeah.
said, it's your turn to share. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that.
So I'm going to do it because I guess I don't mind. But yeah, there's some real hesitation to it. Like this is not stuff we want to do. It's difficult. And all that means is that we oftentimes live unexamined lives and we don't know ourselves. And so we end up being a certain way in a relationship and relating to other people in certain ways. And we're like, I don't know, it's just the way I am.
That's right. It's when those stories go untold that they have so much power. It shapes and impacts all sorts of things in our lives that we don't even know we're giving it power.
Yeah. And so the kind of the moment that I'm thinking about, and it's not, there's many, maybe difficult or dark moments, but I think that this one was sort of a seminal moment for me because I was a young kid, probably about 4 or 5 years old, and I used to have really bad dreams. Like I would dream like there were snakes all around me in my bed, and it was just really creepy, and that's why I don't like snakes, even to this day. But I remember I had a bad dream or a nightmare, and I was just laying in my bed, kind of crying and feeling really frightened. And I saw the hallway light flip on, and I heard someone begin to walk down the hallway, and then my dad appeared in the doorway. And I remember my dad standing there, and I don't know why he said what he said, but he did. And he said, son, do you want me to give you something to cry about? And I said, well, no, I was already crying, so I was kind of confused. And I said, no. And he said, then quit crying. And then he turned around, he flicked off the light, and he walked back down the hallway. And I think that the reason that was such a dark moment for me as a little kid is because that's not something my dad should have said to me. Here I was feeling really frightened and really scared and already weeping and crying. And what I wanted my dad to come in and to help me feel safe and to say, it's going to be okay. I'm here with you. I will help you. You're not alone.
A comforting presence.
Yeah. And basically he said, you are alone, and I don't care. And sadly, that kind of characterized my relationship with my dad.
And your childhood generally.
Yeah, for always. And so, but the reason that moment was important, because what it taught me about relationships is that there's no one that will take care of me or help me except myself. And so it really shaped my ability to interact with people, talking about a couple relationship, in a trusting way, to say, no, you're someone that I can rely on. It's okay for me to be open and honest or vulnerable, or to feel sad or weak or whatever it might be in front of you, because you're not going to reject me. You're instead going to try and help and encourage and soothe and provide a safe environment for me. And so that's been a real difficulty, I think, for Erin and I in our relationship. I think that it's possible with Erin. I'd shared that one of my greatest joys was getting married, because my relationship with Erin was something different than that relationship with my dad. But that's how one of those dark moments can shape who we are as people. And that's not a fun moment for me to remember, and I would prefer not to remember it. But the problem is if I don't remember it, and if I don't think about how that makes me who I am, all it is going to do is negatively impact my relationship with Aaron.
You live out of that. It has all the power rather than being able to remember that story and make different choices and remember a different story now.
Yeah, that we're creating a new story together as a couple.
And then, this is why relationships are hard. He not only has to know that story, remember it, and be able to keep it in mind as we're interacting, I have to know that story because I need to know that is how he is interacting with me in those moments. So when I am choosing to be an unsafe presence for him, which you may have already gathered that happens sometimes, I am reinforcing that story. So it is my privilege, it is my joy, it is my honor, and it is my challenge to be that comforting presence, to be something different, to engage him. And that is hard for me because of my own story, which maybe we'll get into another day. I'm a little
Which is
more,
maybe why she didn't want to share today.
I'm a little more YouTube hesitant.
Maybe, who knows.
But
yeah.
there's a lot going on in all relationships and all interactions all the time, which is why you need therapy. We hope this is helpful. You do need therapy. We need therapy.
Yeah.
Yes, it's not a
Right.
critique. It
So-
shouldn't be.
So what, and you don't actually have to share about this. You could maybe comment, just like, how do you experience like thinking about these dark moments? What's difficult about it? How come you try to move away from it?
Other than
how
the
do you,
obvious.
yeah, how could you see it being useful and helpful in your partner relationship?
And if you can keep in mind that it will be helpful, is it easier to engage?
Yeah. So comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Remember, like the video, share it, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.
And Stephen, thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
See you next time.
Said